Welcome to another Duos and Dark Halls match. Today, I am playing as Dracula against Terminus of the team, the greatest player. To shorten it somewhat, the greatest player in human history and his humble sidekick. Okay, what opening have I got? So, do I do the Desecrated Soil opening? Do I do Aristocratic Ruined? Since it's an aristocratic, I suppose there's no harm in starting with it. Then, the fact that I went superhero, yeah, we'll actually do that. We will go with Aristocratic. We'll do the, you'll start in the east, but we'll make it in the east over here. So, we'll make my first encounter be at Belgrade. I don't have, any sort of bats or anything like that to put on Sajet in Sarajevo, but... So Terminus is definitely a strong opponent in the League of Dracula 2024, just this last fall. He was my opponent in the quarterfinals, and he managed to force me to a tiebreaker match before I successfully broke through to the semifinals. So he's no easy opponent, but he is definitely better at Dracula than he is at hunting, or at least Dracula is his forte. And he's by no means a weak hunter. You don't get to the quarterfinals by being a weak hunter. You have to have some degree of skill with the hunt. Yeah, we'll go to Belgrade. Lay down aristocratic fog. Okay. Sure. At this early stage, what I want to see most are delaying encounters. The aristocratic is a delaying encounter. Not sure if I'll rumor it though. Jonathan Harker. Okay. Interesting. So... This hand that I've been given is definitely not the best. Perhaps I should have done something more of a central start, so that I would have a bit more liberty to just basically that I would have more freedom in the future options. But then again, what if I try breaking west early? What if I go back to Sarajevo? Do Zagreb? Yeah, and then just walk right past them. I risk discovering it with local rumors and such, but Hmm. Obviously, I misdirect. But my next move, I think... So, do I want to try to go loop around Black Sea coast, then loop back up the corridor? Or do I want to go straight into the corridor? Or at least have the threat be either there that I have gone there? I think... We'll go with Sajed. He is going to know where the encounter is eventually. What with there being a... Even if he doesn't have a news sleeper, he has Hawker, so therefore, yeah, I'm just going to save my rumor token, assume that it's going to get found, and play down to the Desecrated Soil immediately so that I can start filtering my cards. Get better encounters. Evil presence? Well, if he withdraws all 4 proxy events, then I may, which apparently that's not what's going to happen. But I might have, had he drawn both evil presences and both local rumors, just right here and now, I might have been tempted to just go waltzing right past. I would have definitely just decided to, or at least been tempted to just waltz right past them. I'll go to Budapest and hide. Have it be a wolves. Then I'll lay down hide and lay down a spy. As spy and wolves definitely do combo together quite nicely. At present, I'm really just trying to filter my hand and get better encounter cards. I know what you might be thinking. I have 2 fogs. How can I complain? And yes, but this early in the game is not when you want to have fog. Ideally for this part of the game, this is the part of the game when you want saboteurs, and bats primarily, which I just found in bats, which is nice. Yeah, so Nothing unusual discarded yet. Another scouts? Alright. Very well. Yeah, this is a good old boring part of the game. Nothing's happening. I'm just making my initial preparations. If there were a Drac event on top, I would definitely be tempted to Dark Hall. Because this hand, while the fog and while the vast majority of these are very good late game, mid to late game, encounter cards, none of them are that great. None of them are super great now. I mean, the bats are nice, but in truth, I would have preferred to put them at other places already that have already passed. Slide trail. Hide card. Now, do I make it a double wolves, or do I instead do a spy? I think I do a spy. Bodyguards? Alright. Alright. No, well, that's 3 out of 4 pistols gone. Which, it's not all that surprising, but it's definitely worth taking note of. So that's when... Oh, a rifle. Okay, we're starting to get to the point where he has to discard better stuff. That's scary to a certain degree. So I could pick up a Drac event if I wanted to. But I do want to slip into the center of the board while I can before Harker kicks in, or or at least be ready to get through. Like, basically, I want to already be doing this when Harker reveals what direction they have to go in. Because when he sees that I started so close by, like closer by than normal, he will. It's quite possible that he'll check spots like Zagram and Munich. And a 2-on-1 fight this early, I mean, it's not the worst thing, but neither is it good. I'll go with laying down bot. I'll go with lay down wolves as this AoE. So if they do find me here, so be it. So he did have newspaper. Okay. So, yeah, he may not choose to spring to action. And he's going to start moving a little, presumably. Because, I mean, especially since I did not rumor this, he will be working under the assumption that this is a hoax, not an aristocratic vampire. Yeah, it looks as if Harker will turn out to be too slow since they got a newspaper. I mean, there may come some time, like, where he may give them important information. It's not impossible. So yeah. Plenty of... Oh, there goes the last pistol. Discarded. Oh. Yeah, and Mia horse speed telegraph. Okay. Yeah, that's better stuff. So we'll toss the aristocratic. No bodyguards. And then, since now we are now entering the mid-game phase, which means that bats are not as good anymore. Yeah, they just didn't come at the right time. Okay, Seward has a heavenly host. Not at all surprising, because it's Seward. So, but, well, nonetheless. Yeah. Go to Munich. And we'll lay down a reckless vampire. Yeah, he honestly, whether or not he'll check Budapest and Zagreb immediately or not, I don't know. But the fact that I haven't wolf formed yet will make him, well, at least in my opinion, is more likely to make him think that that I went for a loop on the Black Sea coast and I'm still over in Baltica. Okay, apparently he's just checking. Yeah, so meanwhile, Seward goes to Belgrade. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm being extremely quiet, but during a tournament match, I try to stay. Okay, Glaming has a knife and a rifle. Simply by simple logic and probability, I could have known that, but okay, he wanted to completely avoid the damage. Alright, okay. Aristocratic vampire taking away a stake from him. Which, well, there are pros and cons to both, whether he did it or not. On the one hand, he's not delayed this next day and gets to move. But on the other hand, okay, there. Toss this aristocratic there. Do I Dark Call now? Well, the thing is that now that he knows that I'm one away from Zagreb, it really doesn't take. He knows for a fact that I've been through Budapest, so I'm one away from. And Sajed is still on the trail, so he can narrow it down to either I'm at Sarajevo or I'm at Munich. So in theory, a renewed vigor could be very, very deadly for me. So, like, for instance, Mia could do simply a sense of emergency, walk on, do charred carriage to here, and then horse to Munich. Even Van Helsing admittedly could not get there, but nonetheless. So it's probably best that I do a wolf form. And if I get... What if... What if I were to wolf form Mr. Exogen and then wolf form back there? That seems rather bizarre, but it's also so bizarre that he might not think to check it. I think we'll... I think we won't wolf form, but we can hardly stay here in Dark Hall either. Yeah, that's a funny thought. Do I go to Vienna and then wolf form to Sarajevo? That's probably just... Well, it's a fun idea. It's probably just a bad idea. Yeah, we'll go to Zurich. Pretty obvious, but well, it is what it is. We'll go with laying down, and we will go ahead and rumor that to... Yeah, he knows that I've either gone Szeged, Klausenberg, Budapest, or he knows that I hid at Budapest at this point. Yeah, I wonder what Gul'daming's third card is. It's entirely possible that's the third horse. He simply hasn't had to use it yet. Alternatively, it could be... there aren't really many things ruled out. It could easily be a stake. It could be... It could be... I don't know. There's just far too many possibilities left. For all I know, it could even still be a garlic wreath if he, for some reason, kept one around. Alright. Okay. I'm not completely certain. I suppose he's just making absolute certain that I went to Munich before abandoning the East. Because the fact that I didn't wolf form, maybe made him think maybe that's not what I did. Let's see what sort of weapon. Okay, discarded a knife, so that means that he did not have a rifle. Two rifles in the discard. Gul'daming has the third one, and has number 3, and the fourth one could quite easily be in one of their hands. So Mina's moving. Where to? Possibly going up to Van Helsing for a trade? Yep, apparently. Yeah, right. It's always nice to be able to take out a knife like that. it is a little bit of a shame that desecrated soil. Well, I haven't even wolf form, so desecrated soil maturing wouldn't have done me any good. So, but that card cycling was definitely nice. So I found rats to just pop into my next lair. There, pop the rats in there. Place down. I suppose we'll go with the bodyguards. Yeah. Oh, be quiet, Jaru. One doesn't have to dark call if one doesn't want to. Is he going to... I suppose I ought to have ambushed there. I would have gone maximum effect. And Gul'dan would have shown his weapons again, but Seward with only 2 cards at the time. One of them being a horse. Perhaps I ought to have ambushed there. Yep, checking my save, as is typical. Come to me, Mina. Come for a one-on-one. We will go to Paris next, I think. Basically, I will go where you have already been. Yes. And as for Seward, what is the answer? Take that. I mean, that means... admittedly, Seward just gets to heal up, but that means that he doesn't have time to work on ticket economy. I mean, although it would appear as if he has it more or less worked out. Yeah. And Goldaming now revealed a horse, so I know his entire hand. He went from Sarajevo to get there. So he has a horse, a knife, and a rifle. And Seward has a horse and a couple other things that are not weapons. Lair. Saboteur is the weak one here. Go here. Go with the mob. Okay. So only still one more dogs. But I can deduce that Seward does not have dogs unless it was the thing that he drew. One of the two things he drew after dealing with. Well, no, he would have used the dogs to deal with the spy. Okay, where are you going? Munich, perhaps? Yep. All right. That probably is actually relatively high that Mina has a stake. So I will ambush. There's 3 stakes left. All of them. Goldaming, I know what he has. He does not have a stake. So its probability is pretty high that she has one. Can't say I like this opening hand. Well, I suppose Mesmerize, yeah. We'll go with the classic Mesmerize opening. Will she punch? Or no? Answer: no, she didn't. We'll go ahead and do a plotting. Will he dodge? I don't know. Okay, got him. Apparently. Fetch me one of my fangs, so that I can at least try to get an ambush point out of this thing. We will go with strength. Well, then again, even if he ends up knifing me, then the one thing I do not want is him dumping a heavenly host on this. So therefore, yeah, we'll do this Fangs now. Since I have claws in hand, Fine, sure. Well, strength so as to block knife, but chances are he's just dodged. Oh, he did punch. Okay. Well. I'll take it. Go ahead and do Fangs. Make it so the one thing that would one-shot one-shot the vampire. I suppose it's possible that she could have the last Holy Bullets card, and that is another way he could one-shot it, but he would have been trying for it already if he had that. So, alright, 2 points and 6 damage dealt. That is very good for me. Good work. Even if he ends up just staking it, which his behavior during that combat seems to indicate that she does have, that my suspicions of her having the stake are correct. That's already half its non-rumored value gotten, and Mina will take quite a bit of time to heal, and therefore is far less of a threat for the new vampire. So, does she have a stake? I would assume so. Yep. So that's the second stake. Okay. Slide. She was just standing in Strasbourg, so I shall go to Strasbourg. Lay down a bats, so I can just steer someone to something or another, as an unpleasant surprise. Yeah. A lot of info on what he does not have leads to info of what he does have. Okay. 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 So, I think I'll go to Cologne next, then work my way back west, and then just stick to the coast. Don't know at what point I'll be forced to set sail, but I will certainly will, at some point or another. Okay. Lair. Take off the Belgrade lair. Then, Yeah, this is the time that I mentioned earlier where Seward might come in handy for them. I mean, Mina likely wants to stick around and rest a bit longer. It's possible, it's entirely possible that... so I know that Goldong does not have a stake, so I'll not ambush with that. I know that he has specifically a rifle, knife, and horse, so... Okay, that's the last dogs discarded. Yeah. I think I'll go to Leipzig next, actually. I think I'm gonna end up looping back east, or at least trying to. And I still have not used wolf form. I haven't used it even once, so... So, what Van Helsing has is a mystery to me, but I don't want to give him a 2v1 with the vampire by day. If he's going to clear it, he will have to spend a stake to do so. Either that, or do a 2-on-1 night fight. If, that is, he intends to clear it today. Yeah, I think that this is one of those things where it's better just better not to ambush. In general. With a reckless, well, at least I can get ambush points out of it. But... imagine that once he discovers that I've gone to Paris, he will likely be checking the West Coast. It depends on whether he discovers whether that I went to Strasbourg first. Okay. To vampiric influence. And if I can get a hoax off, then that'd be interesting. Oh, be quiet. I'm calling. Yeah. Will Mia night supply now, or will he rest while she's still with Seward? I think that's the correct choice. Save the night supplies when you really need them. Lair. I shall have to be cautious going back east into these lairs. Place down the hoax, because now I now know that there's a fairly good one in there. So, and even Roadblock is pretty good. It's especially since he's discarded one of the 2 good luck cards. Okay. I'm guessing that he'll be checking Cloudfinder for loose or something like that. The fact that he went on without, day searching Zurich with Van Helsing seems to say that Van Helsing does have a stake. Okay. Okay. Behind the veil? Well, okay. Well, he gets a yoink one of my fogs, but, well, at least it's in the discard for the reshuffle. Oh, soil. That'll be helpful for finding that third, quote-unquote, third fog once the reshuffle happens. Just getting closer to it. So, he now knows that I have a fairly good hand for protecting myself from an attack. So, he has to guess when I will use that fog. Yep. That's now 3 stakes down. Okay, Willie Night Supply. Okay, there goes one of his mystic research night supplies. Okay. Yeah. So I can now choose what I can bat him into here in Zurich. Oh, well, this will be fun, actually. Well, this will actually seem extremely strange, but I think I'm actually going to put this in the Zurich lair, and then bat Seward into there, ambush them with it, and ambush them with it. I can make it so that Van Helsing will be unable to move. Yeah, in doing this I make Van Helsing unable to move. I mean, he can supply, but he won't be able to move into a big city. I mean, he does have a speed telegraph. I do have to keep that in mind. But yeah, he knows that for this card I had the option of laying down a reckless. That I had the option of laying down a fog. I'll just let him search it. And what's more, I also delay Van Helsing, so I deprive him of his day action. So I kind of hit 2 in 1. And what's more, by putting fog in Zurich, Mina can no longer move through there to help. Which means it'll take her a little bit longer to get to my trail, to get to the area like Paris and the West Coast. Although after having found my spot at Strasbourg, he will wonder if he needs to go into Germany to find me, and he'd be right to think that. But what does she do? Okay, where are you off to? Prague? That's interesting. Zagreb, I have the mob there. Yes, counting. There's remaining night supplies. So now he seems... Now he would have only one left. Discarded the other good luck card. Alright. So both of those are out of the way. Normally I wouldn't... Okay, slide. Lair. Yeah, let's just get this out of my hand. So, any of these, Seward or Gul'daman can both Seward and Gul'daman can easily get to Paris. So, and even if they don't, well, a mob when there's no one in maturing when there's no one in France would do me no good. So let's make it so that I have the option to wolf form back onto it. We'll go with Desecrated Soil. Yeah, this is definitely a very dangerous game to be playing for when he plays Renewed Vigor and it plays Forewarned carefully, but the fact that he knew that both fogs were in my hand probably made him think that trying to pick a fight with me right now is probably not the best idea, because he knows that any of these, well, except he knows that I now don't have fog. So I'm interpreting this to mean that if he does have Renewed Vigor, he's simply choosing not to use it. Okay. Alright. Right. So, he'll want to send Van Helsing to a big city. So, he can send him into the Munich lair. Oh, interesting. Just doing an event trade. I find that a little interesting. They're both full in events, so this isn't for hand size purposes. Unless it's supposed to take something trashy that Mina has and give it to Van Helsing so that he can supply with that. So I'm guessing Mina may actually just stumble right into me. Mob? Okay, with Sur delayed, that's less threat for next turn. The only one of them that does not have full events is Guldoming, which is definitely very scary. And what's more, on top of that, he's been had time to filter out some of the worst ones. Lucky find. Whoa, vampire there too. And it's definitely very nice to know that there's going to be no vampire there. That's definitely nice for me. Lucky find. I mean, yeah, that's it. It can be nice as a surprise, as a very nasty. It can be a very nasty surprise, but okay, doing his last mystic research guarantee. All right, will he search with him or will he ally? I mean, Harker. I mean, oops, I'm not there. So there, we will take off the Munich layer. Place a wolves, or no, we want to keep our AoE encounters as much as I can. I'm not gonna get a hoax through. Come on, let's just get that. Get shoo. Yeah. I am now. I now either have to misdirect. I have to misdirect and or wolf form. Because at this point, since he knows that I have not gone to Hamburg, he knows that I went Frankfurt, Cologne, that I went to either Frankfurt or Cologne into Leipzig, and now I'm at the opposite location. I could do the hide card. That would make him more likely to believe that it's Frankfurt, Leipzig, Cologne, Amsterdam. Might make him. I mean, and what am I setting on? Soil? That's not exactly much of a guardian thing, but then again, Seward is delayed. Van Helsing does not have a horse, although really any reasonable ticket will do the job too, unless I'm mistaken. That's a white rail. Yeah, this is a tough one. I had to use a special card of some sorts. I think so. Guldoming, honestly, Frankfurt has become somewhat. Will he check Frankfurt or will he check somewhere else? But what I think that we go with the hide option. It may make him try to do a renewed vigor onto onto Amsterdam. Going to lay down wolves as that's the best thing I've got for defense, and then let's keep it a little bit more focused on the short term by laying that down. Basically, make sure that I have posed a threat to him now. Yeah, using a power card tends to announce that they tend to announce different things. Wolf form tends to announce that you are feeling under pressure. feed and dark call tend to imply that you feel safe. And misdirect, well, that seems to broadcast that you are going to the place that you misdirected. Okay. Alright. Does announcing at the last stake, perhaps? Let's see if we can get... honestly, I will not be surprised at all if he has, like, a planned ambush, or... he's gone through more than half... He's gone through approximately half the deck at this point, so... I would not be all that surprised if he had any one card. Claw, Mesmerize. Yeah, one thing I don't know is what's the Heavenly Host situation. He never discarded one. Goldaming does not have one. So I know that Seward at least had one. I'm not sure when he dealt with the soil. Do I do Claw or Mesmerize? I'll risk him trying to... If he wants to trade a Heavenly Host for this, so be it. That'll make CG much weaker, so... Okay, turned out to be the right call. At least of the two options I was considering. Had I done plotting instead, then... Okay, yeah, I really don't have much choice but to do Claws, which is a bit of a pity, but... Oh, alright, so you're choosing to stick around. That's interesting. Okay, the fact that he punched... Yeah, I think the fact that he opened dodge and now did punch seems to say that he is trying to stick around for the long fight. So, since he's mesmerized, there's not yet enough threats from knife to be too worried. So we'll go with another claw attack. Okay. Yep. Gotten 4 damage. No points. But, oh well. So be it. Gotten a good amount of damage. Makes them less threatening to me. Yeah. And if he's paying attention to my lairs, he'll notice that I had just removed the Munich lair. Okay. Yeah, it's actually quite delightful to have gotten this far through the game and still not used a single and still, apart from hide, not used a single power card. Well, I suppose I misdirected my starting location too, so okay. Alright, so that's the fourth, what was originally the fourth stake accounted for. But, well, now they've reshuffled the deck. There. Toss away that one. So, what do I plan to do for this turn? Do I place something trash on Strasbourg and then Wolform? Or do I instead... now that he knows that I've stayed further inland, he will not at all be surprised if I Wolform. In fact, he'll likely be expecting it. So this is actually a good time to do that. So the question that he will have to answer is, where am I Wolforming from? And after that, where am I Wolforming to? So I'll go with the rats option. Okay. Now we wolf form. Geneva, that lair has a saboteur on it. Zurich does not have. Zurich does not have a lair at the moment. So I'll be sending someone up to deal with Cologne. If I don't ambush, then if I choose not to ambush and forsake the, I may be able to possibly get in a bite, a normal bite. So we'll go with. I think we'll go with Brussels. Brussels has very good rail connections for him to use, but now I'm still very close by ports, and several of them. So now we'll lay down new vampire. This is the sort of game that I play best. This is the sort of Dracula game that I play best. Really what I am doing is I'm just taking advantage of the fact that the center of the board is just an ultimate maze, and I'm just weaving back and forth, weaving to and fro. It can be very difficult to figure out exactly what I've done. Yeah, normally I would ambush with a reckless, but since no. Nope. And now we go for the western coast. Yeah, it is very hard to tell exactly what order I did things in, because there's so many, there are so many places where there are little triangles, which means that you can do all three of them in practically any order. And I've already taken advantage of two such triangles through Zurich, Geneva, Strasbourg, and then Strasbourg, Cologne, and Frankfurt. And then there's also another one at Leipzig, Frankfurt, Nuremberg. Nope. I mean, this is the sort of game that I'm. This is the sort of game that I just love to have. And we're already a few days into week 3. So So, okay. I don't know why he took so long to think about. What was there? Perhaps a surprising return that he wanted to use to search? Oops! Night fight. Okay. Yeah. We will open with Mesmerize, as I don't know whether or not he'll actually try to get in. Okay, yeah, he is actually trying to kill this thing. He knows that I know precisely what he's geared with. So, okay, well, you just played a rifle. So very well. I shall play claws. Yeah. So I didn't kill him, but whatever. That's another 4 damage. So Gul'daming is hardly in any shape to go chasing after me. And now I get to mature the vampire for 4 more points. That is admittedly not much of a break point, but and the thing is, when I mature this, since this is a hide card, it will be a shame to lose the Desecrated Soil, but he'll just be scrambling, trying to figure out where I went. Oh, all right, or not. So he knows that I wolf-horned from Frankfurt. That's okay. Sure. Claim my 4 points. However, now since that's a hide card. Doesn't matter one bit. That encounter card there doesn't matter one bit to him. So now. Okay, let me see. What did I place there at Brussels? New vampire? Okay. Let's place down another new vampire. Yeah, let's just keep making things difficult for him by having there be more and more stuff that he needs to do. Yeah. So he is working off of the knowledge that I wolf-formed from Frankfurt. After that, but where the trail begins again, he doesn't know yet. Although I suppose I should have cleared the Geneva lair. To leave that open as an option. that was a mistake, because he knows that I can't have wolf form to Geneva without. I think Strasbourg, it's not that big a deal, as I was wolf forming over Strasbourg, so. Yeah, apart from that. So in truth, he actually doesn't have all that many options. He's already checked. He's already covered the eastern border, and he has to keep in mind that that Mina came from Prague to go there, so I didn't wolf form on there. Yeah, so where am I? Yeah, what? Where is he? Where? Why is he moving Goldaming and not just making him rest? That is curious. Perhaps going to send Seward to. Okay, yeah, he's running out of time. I am still nice and healthy at 14 HP, and I've gotten 6 influence. What are you doing, grouping up like that? If you're gonna distance yourself from me, so be it. I won't object. How many Drac events are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's actually still a fair number left in there. Yeah, I think that what's happened here to create this sort of situation, I think that the thing that's happened to create this sort of situation is that he has always sent his hunters in like one by one, and one by one, which means that one by one they've had to back off. I'm going to clear these. I'm actually going to just flat out just clear my lairs to get to, even though I'm nowhere nearby them, that may make him think that I am, and that might make him a bit slower to figure out that I'm over here on the west coast. I suppose. Yeah, I'll go with Aristocratic Vampire. Yeah, until they start getting until they're a little bit closer and in a little bit more health. Van Helsing has, I'm assuming, a Heavenly Host and one other thing. But Seward, when last checked, did not have a weapon, although I imagine that has changed since then. Goldaming is at 4 HP. He is while Goldaming is relatively well armed, he is in something of a delicate situation there. So there's one more. So he's already used 2 out of 3 newspapers. Oh, and there's the third one. Man, he got lucky with those second and third ones. So now he knows where my wolf form is 2. So that means that he will that he may start closing on me sooner than start closing on me rather soon. Mina is in a relatively good shape. She can, or at least from my perspective, looks reasonably threatening. So she can at least start closing the distance up a little. Yeah, so we've got... Yeah, so I'm just creating a non-stop train of vampires that he has to address. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to address any of them, because he just has to let one go. That admittedly cuts down on 1 day of week 4, 2 days if it ends up being one of the aristocratics, but... Okay, whoa, hypnosis discarded. Oh, and what? He willingly chose to discard money trail, and then later willingly chose to discard hypnosis? That's just wrong. Because now I can... So now long as I make it safely to see, like, if I go down Bordeaux and then go into South Atlantic, he has zero way of knowing where I end up, where I'm, what direction I'm headed, unless, let me see, what's the proxy event situation? Local rumors, evil presence, so there's still one of each. And the deck is definitely thinning a good deal. So this is definitely... Okay, surprising return. Rufus, gonna use Rufus to search, presumably. Yeah. Yep. So he can easily guess where I am now. Oh, going risky and night supplying. But, yeah, willingly discarding hypnosis after already having willingly discarded money trail? What? Those are 2 top tier events. And as long as you can force me out to sea... Gracious. I just cannot really get behind that. You'll certainly want to keep at least one of them around. Oh my. That is very nice for me. To know that the only way he has of learning which direction I'm going it's very interesting that we still haven't seen any renewed vigor plays. Yeah, there's a time to do the subtle moves, which is the time that I was prancing all around in here, and there's a time for the, and then there's the time for the. And the thing is, my win is still definitely not guaranteed, because he does have high mobility, but So long as I can get safely into the sea, which, if you're wondering why I haven't done so already, I do want to stay on land as long as possible. Really? Heroically, perhaps? I'm a little bit surprised they sent... I mean, with Hyde being on the trail, I can't hide here anyway. Okay, escape route? Yeah, I can't hide here anyway. So... Gracious, what sort of stuff must he have to be discarding stuff like money trail and hypnosis? Speed telegraph? I get it, yeah. Char carriage? Sure. Good luck? Yeah. Possibly discarding hypnosis? Yeah. The money trail? Gracious. What on earth did it? Yeah. Excellent weather? Yeah. Vampire lair? That's a lot of good events, of excellent events, that he's just tossed away. It's possible that he's been a little too conservative with his events. Perhaps he ought to have tried to use one or two of them. Like, actually get to use them. So, he discarded one charred carriage. I don't know where the others are, though. So, in the event of a renewed vigor, how safe is Santander? Gul'daman can get there, even without renewed vigor. Gul'daman can charred carriage there. Seward can sense an emergency there. Mina can simply walk there. With renewed vigor, I would have to bring Van Helsing into the mix of consideration. No. So, yeah, it's time. I've left him a nice yarn of vampires to deal with while I'm gone, so... Yeah, this also helps get the timing a bit better for when I land. A little bit better for when I land. So I think I must go South Atlantic Mediterranean. It'll... Hired Scouts, okay, he gets to flip up Nantes. I think that's the last of the Hired Scouts now. One, two, three. Okay, so there's one. There's one other. There's still one more scouts in there. Okay, so there goes one of his proxy events. But he already knew I was in that sea. And with an eagle presence is the more powerful one. So yeah, it's good that that's out of the way. Is it actually better for me to go English Channel than Wolfhorn to Swansea? Because at that point I'll be scoring Fury Dracula points. I can hide, and then if he forces me off with CG, I can then just hop across to Ireland. Yeah, so I think I'll go English Channel. Yeah, so next turn I Wolfhorn Shore to Swansea. Or possibly even Wolfhorn back onto the mainland. Because it'll depend on whether or not the new vampire in Brussels matures. Yeah, I hope Van Helsing hasn't dug up another stake. He may have, but... Darn. Shame. But at least I still have the Lahar vamp. Yeah, I may actually... So, Lair, Cycle, I mean, Sab is absolutely useless. I... The thing is... I think that I'll wolf form to... This may seem very weird, but I'm actually going to do a fake wolf form to Plymouth. Because I have enough HP to the point where if he CG nuke, like CG quote unquote nukes me, that's still not enough for him. So we'll go with that. And we'll go with a spy as my first encounter. Okay, RV. Yep. So, KSP, Telegraph. Yeah, Gul'daming is the only one ready to attack me. Seward. I'm guessing he's going to go to Madrid, then have Mina scan. I suppose I should have misdirected Bordeaux, have that be an option. Yeah, small things like that. Okay, yeah, so he now knows that I went either North Sea, English Channel, or Irish Sea. But that means that I could be that to him, I could be all the way over here, like over here. You'll have to choose carefully where to commit. So now Gul'daming will horse and go to Swansea. Yeah, he'll check Swansea because that's the safe place. Oh, whoa. Wow, he actually called my bluff. Interesting. Okay, they almost... Considering that they haven't even... Okay, forewarned. So I'll be taking... So if he has CG, which I say if, but It is very unlikely that he doesn't at this point. So I know the weak point in this is that I know what Gul'daming has to attack me with. If he can do enough damage, or if I simply get a dreadful combat hand, or something like that. Okay, so Mia has one of the two sense of emergencies. Alright. Lucy's Revenge. Alright. Yeah, if he had had Heroic Leap, I would be dead, actually. Due to... So, I think that I'll actually open with Plotting. So I have to get out of this fight with more than 9, with more than 7 HP, because if he has CG, which he almost certainly does. Yeah, normally I would not start a fight at this stage of the game with. He may actually choose to do Punch first, but well, that's the minimum damage, and I still get a new card. So, yeah. Ugh. Seriously, the other escape is Bat? Things are going to get awkward. So, which will he do first? A knife? Or the rifle? So he will expect a Mesmerize. So he'll want his less powerful weapon to be the Mesmerize, or he'll be expecting a Mesmerize or a Strength. So he'll do the rifle since that's the one that's less, you might say, precious to him. So therefore we do Fangs first, I think. I should be able to land. I think, all things considered, it makes more sense to do rifle first. Yep. Good. So, the two of them cancel out, but I get damage. So, basically, same outcome for a daytime strength. So he can either do knife, or he can do punch. And it doesn't make much sense to dodge. This is definitely being dreadful combat hand. Plotting or claws? I think. Then again, he may choose to dodge in fear of me doing a strength card. So, to break the knife, since I didn't play strength yet. Okay. Apparently that's not the case, but I'm getting closer to forcing him to use Lucy's Revenge for for that purpose. And if I can escape his bat, which, although that is almost never, that's never gonna happen. He has both knife with him having both knife and rifle. All right. Yeah, I would have preferred to have this sooner, but yeah. Strength. Oh, went with escape. Well, nothing I could have done about that with the hand I got. Dreadful hand. Dreadful combat hand. Dreadful combat hand. Hand that one. That one. Dreadful combat hand that one. You count yourself lucky there. So now if he has, well, actually, that, okay. So this is the Night of Truth. If he has the CG, then I am, well, if he has the CG to prevent me from going to London, doing Feed or Dark Hall or something like that, any of those things, and it will be enough. Yep. Alright, GG. Yeah, unfortunately he just called my bluff. GG, well played. GG, well played. Yeah, had I gotten even a slightly better combat hand and taking two less damage in a 1v1 is really, especially when they don't have a Heavenly Host or Holy Bullets or anything like that, is actually not a tall ask. But I was just fed escape card after escape card. Well, that sucks. Nonetheless, a very fun game. Huh. And evidently, it was Gul'daming who was holding on to that CG. If I had managed to penetrate Lucy's Revenge and kill him, he would have lost it. That's a pity. That's a real shame. Oh, but here could be my salvation. If he has no way to prevent this combat, I may be able to kill Van Helsing, and here's how things could suddenly turn around since he chose to search this. Okay, yeah, I actually have not yet lost. Yeah, I cannot let him escape, so he do mesmerize. Admittedly, he does have a Heavenly Host. Everyone who is not Gul'daming has a Heavenly Host. He has Dongs, a Heavenly Host, and one other thing. Fortunately, since this is a new vampire, the Heavenly Host won't be enough on its own. And the thing is, I don't actually have to kill him. I simply have to land a bite. That will give me that one extra point that I need. Okay, win with the Heavenly Host. Honestly, in retrospect, that was a tad obvious. My win condition my win condition is to win this is to like in a sense is to win the combat. Ugh. What is it with these combat hands? Strength. Hopefully he's... Ugh. Darn. Another all three escapes hand. Darn. Another all three escapes hand. And I'm still going to get to mature that and make it so that he gets almost no IDS out of this. But... But nonetheless, I am still ill-defeated. Yep. You will play... Hey, Terminus. This... Nonetheless, 12 influence. Yeah, if I had landed a bite... That was a close... That was definitely a very close one. Had I landed a bite, then... I would have... Had either of those combat hands been slightly better, then I would have had that. Or had he not... one way or another. It is what it is. I took the gamble that he would not check Plymouth, and unfortunately I was wrong. Thanks. Drac is my specialty. Thanks. Drac is my specialty. But one way or another, thank you everyone for watching, and see you all next time. Bye.